Hey, what is up guys? So we are going to be doing a deck profile for Harpies. Now this is a OCG deck profile that got first place, so I think a lot of players might want to just try out this deck. Again, this is an OCG deck profile, so there are cards that we don't have legal in the TCG, but there are cards that we can run multiple copies of in the TCG, like Summoner Monk, which can make this deck much better. Now, I do want to say that it was a smaller tournament, but if you guys have been to Japan, you'll know that when you go to some of these card shops, they're very tiny anyways. They couldn't fit 100 players in a lot of these smaller areas. But there are still people that are playing meta here. It's not like he was going against, like, you know, people playing Gladiator Beast. Like, he was playing against people that were actually running meta. But again, it was a smaller pool size. So if you just, you know, believe in the heart of the cards, win a few rounds, you know, you win. So that's why sometimes you'll see some more obscure decks in Japan, just because there isn't, you know, hundreds of players. But that's just because in Japan's, if you guys have been to Japan, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Some of the card shops, they're really cramped in. Just because there's not that much room in Japan. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started, because I think a lot of players might want to try out this deck because a lot of the stuff got reprinted and maybe they didn't have like a Chidori or like a Flare Metal. So like a lot of the stuff has gotten a lot more inexpensive, and this isn't really a meta deck, so to speak, so it's kind of cheap. Maybe you already have these lying around. You want to combat some Pendulum decks. And like I said, there were Draco Slayers, there were Quantums that they had to face off against. So anyways, let's go and jump right into it. And there's actually a pretty cool boss monster that you can actually pull off, technically, if you go against some other decks. But anyways, let's get started. So first off, we got that young vanilla Harpie lady with that OCG artwork. We got 2 copies of Harpie's Pet Dragon, which, that's pretty crazy. That is so cheeky. If you guys have played the deck, you know most people just play 1, because opening up with this card, it always happens. But this guy's like, oh, I always open up with 1. Well, it's fine, because, you know, I just got that extra 1 in my deck, but I swear I draw this every single time when I played 1. Anyways, next up we got 3 copies of Harpie Queen, 3 Harpist, 3 Channeler, and 2 copies of Harpie Lady 1. And then to round off the Harpies, we got 3 Harpie Dancer. And then we have Summoner Monk. Really, really good card. Now, I would highly suggest you guys play 2 copies of it. I assume most of my viewers are TCG players, but if you are OCG, then, you know, obviously you only have 1, but you got these 2 cards, so you can go ahead and make do with that. But anyways, yeah, Harpie's Feather Duster and Monster Reborn are 2 cards that are banned in the TCG, so you'll have to swap those out. If you guys want to, I don't think Denko Sekka is really that relevant. I think a much better card, maybe like a Trap Stun, maybe, I wouldn't say Royal Decree, I would say Trap Stun's probably the way to go with this deck, but yeah, definitely. Trapstone would be a good card. It's the closest thing that you got to a Feather Duster, I think, in the TCG. Or, like, you could run Decree, but, like, you know, you probably don't want Decree. Yeah. Next up, there's the Elegant Egotist, and then we have 2 copies of Chalice, 3 copies of a Hysteric Sign, 1 Divine Wind of Mist Valley, 2 copies of Harpie's Hunting Ground, 2 Bottomlesses. This is a OCG thing. They have bottomless at 3 in the OCG. I wish we had that. Then we have 2 copies of Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare, which also got a reprint here in the TCG. So I remember this card was like $25 too, crazy stuff. Then we Starlight Road. I was like, what? Who plays Starlight Road in OCG? And it's because of this, and it makes total sense. Then we have 2 copies of Skill Prisoner. So this card might be a card that a lot of you guys might be unfamiliar with. So we're gonna go ahead and go over the card effect really quick. So its effect is you get to target 1 card you control when any monster effect resolves that targeted that card at activation. You get to negate that effect, and then during either player's turn except for the turn it was sent to the graveyard, you get to banish this card from your graveyard and then target 1 card you control. This turn, when any monster activates its effect that targets that card activation, you get to negate it. So basically you're able to keep your card alive. So I don't really feel like there's a card we can compare it to that we really use in the TCG, but I have seen this card a few times in the TCG in the side deck, but this guy didn't actually have a side deck, so I thought that was an interesting choice for him to actually play Skill Prisoner, but it's not a bad card. Next, nonetheless, Magical Hats at 2. You usually want to go for Hysteric Sign. That opens up a lot of pluses in the deck, so yeah, those are the targets with it. And then 3 copies of Hysteric Party, and then also, I was thinking, like, why not Breakthrough Skill, because, you know, I think that's the reason why he also had that, because Magical Hats, you get to target 2 non-monster cards from your deck, and you get to place them, so that's kind of interesting. And then, you know, we have, of course, 3 copies of Hysteric Party, the win condition of the deck, and then 2 copies of Anti-Spell Fragrance, which I think makes this deck. And the reason why is because Pendulums, they can't set, so, like, they really lose to this card. I almost want to say you should bump this up to 3 and maybe throw in, like, an Upstart in here, just so you can try to draw Anti-Spell Fragrance, because what's really good in this deck, guys, is the combination of anti-spell fragrance with Harpie's hunting ground, what you're going to be able to do is if your opponent is going to set all of their spell cards so they can use them next turn, whether it's upstarts or like anything, you're going to go ahead and just keep on summoning Harpie monsters, and you're going to keep on popping up the back row, so then they like lose even harder. So yeah, pretty good stuff indeed. From the extra deck, he's playing 1 Stardust, 1 Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon, 1 Big Eye, 1 S39 Utopia the Lightning, 1 Dank Rebellion XYZ Dragon, 1 C39 Utopia Ray, 1 Utopia. So the strategy with this, guys, if you guys didn't know, is when you make Utopia, you throw this on top of Utopia so you have the extra attachment so you can actually activate this card's effect twice instead of just normally once. So that's why you play that card. Next up we have, let me go back to sword. We have the C39 Utopia Ray, and then we have Utopia 101. Then we have Harpie's Pet Phantasmal Dragon. Then this card, Ice Beam Zero Fine, is what you're able to get out to deal with some of the more difficult cards. I know the Quantum card can bounce this card back, but let's say you'd already activated that effect, because remember, Hysteric Party, you're going to send a lot of stuff back. So this card has the effect of once per turn, you detach one material from this card, negate the effects of all face-up cards. It's not going to be using that effect. More than likely, it's just going to increase its attack for 300 for each face-up card on the field. So more than likely, you might have like a Hysteric Party, you might have a Harpie's Hunting Ground on board. So you have a lot of face-up cards. And then, of course, if your opponent is playing Pendulums, then they're going to have 2 more. And this card can gain a bunch of attack, and you can actually run over a ton of stuff. Next up, we got 2 copies of Lightning Jadori. And like I said, this card just got a reprint, so a lot of players probably already have this. Dagusto Emerald, pretty good card indeed. And then we have Abyss Dweller, and then Rafflesia. Rafflesia is so much better than the OCG with triple bottomless, man. I can only dream of that time that we'll get that. But anyways, that's a deck profile. Let me know if you guys have any thoughts on it. If you guys want to do the TCG one, I highly recommend adding another Summoner Monk, maybe a Traps one if you want to like shut down all the back row. But make sure you're obviously chaining Hysteric Party to that so you can summon your monsters. And then maybe you can try to OTK your opponent through that, because maybe they have certain cards where they're going to negate it at a certain other time, or whatever the reason may be. Maybe Twin Twister can also be an option if you wish to use that, but yeah, it can definitely help out if you just want to go for a game. Like Hysteric Party, it's a fantastic card. Just being able to be like, oh, discard 1 card, spell summon all the Harpies. Remember, this card isn't that dead because you can use the Hysteric Party with it, or you can Twin Twister. There's a lot of other options. But anyways, like I said, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you guys think that there's a better way to play this deck, I'd love to know, because I think Hysteric or Harpies in general with Hunting Ground plus Anti-Spell, I think that's a really dirty combo, because again, it makes your opponent set their stuff, so you're just able to get rid of it. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you guys give that like button a titty slap, and I'll see you guys later. It's been your boy Will Smith, signing out.